Today we're talking about aggravated domestic violence. This is a felony in Arizona that happens if a person has other prior domestic violence convictions. So domestic violence by itself is not a crime. It is a designation that's added on to other offenses. So let's say that there was an assault, somebody hit somebody, or there was some disorderly conduct, there was an argument, and that conduct happened between people who were in a domestic relationship. That original charge, the original assault, or the disorderly conduct are going to be designated domestic violence offenses because they happen between family members or between a couple who is in a romantic relationship. That's how it gets designated a domestic violence offense. So aggravated domestic violence occurs when somebody has already had prior domestic violence convictions, and specifically when they've had 2 prior convictions. On the third domestic violence allegation, they can file that as an aggravated domestic violence charge. The statute's 13-360102, and it says that on your third or more domestic violence charges, they can charge that as a felony. It's a class 5 felony. So if you've got prior convictions, those will stack up against you. But we don't go back forever. We only go back 7 years. It's 84 months is what the statute says. So if you have a domestic violence conviction and the date of the offense when it actually happened was 85 months away, that's not going to accumulate. That's not going to be counted towards the total number of domestic violence convictions here. It only goes back 7 years. Anything beyond that is not counted in terms of aggravating the original charges or the new charge to an aggravated level. So the penalties are pretty strict for this. So if you're convicted of an aggravated domestic violence offense, even if it's your first felony, you have to serve 4 months of jail. Okay, the law says that if you've got 2 prior domestic violence convictions, so misdemeanor convictions, and you've got 2 of those, on the third one, if you're convicted here, you go to jail for 4 months. It's in the law, it's mandatory, you cannot get around that. The judge can't commute it, the judge can't do anything about it. You have to go to jail for 4 months. If you've got prior felony convictions, you have to be very cautious about that. You're going to have to look to the felony sentencing charts to see what the prosecutor may be offering you. As I said, this is a class 5 felony, so these are just the minimums. The 4 months is just the minimum. If you've got prior felony convictions, the prosecutor can offer you the presumptive term on a class 5 or aggravated or do whatever they want, move you into category 3 or category 2 depending upon your priors. If you have 3 prior convictions, so if this is going to be your 4th domestic violence conviction, you go to jail for 8 months. Okay, so it goes from 4 months all the way up to 8 months, and it just gets worse from there because now you will have prior felony convictions. So remember, it's about a conviction. So many people who are charged with domestic violence offenses, they take a class, they go through a diversion program. Many city courts offer diversion programs where you just go through a series of classes over 26 weeks or 52 weeks or whatever it is you're sentenced to. And as long as you do that successfully, that is dismissed. So you don't have a conviction. So that dismissed case is not going to be applicable here. It's going to be gone. It's not going to be considered a conviction in terms of aggravating it. So if you have actual convictions and you have a third conviction or third charge, that's when it goes from a misdemeanor, from a class 1 misdemeanor up to a class 5 felony, which is quite serious. Now, the same defenses that apply in any domestic violence case would apply here. You still want to actually go after the underlying charge, dispute whether the assault happened, dispute whether there was any disorderliness, dispute whether there was any physical contact, whether there was any trespassing or anything like that. You want to make sure that you're disputing those because this only aggravates the charge. It just makes the penalty significantly worse. But all of the same defenses, and I've got other videos about this, all of the same defenses in a domestic violence case are still applicable here, so you may want to refer to those videos to see what those are, but this is just how the sentencing works. So if you are charged with aggravated domestic violence, you're going to have to understand that you're looking at mandatory jail, so you want to make sure that you've got a robust defense, you've got a good defense team behind you. That's what we do here at R&R Law Group. We only do defense law. We don't do anything else. So we'd be happy to sit down with you, offer a free case evaluation, make sure you have a good plan to move forward successfully. Thanks for watching.